business as usual over in League One as Leyton Orient squeeze into the playoffs. That's right, at the expense of Reading. That's right. But a bit of good news on the horizon for them. What am I talking about? I'll tell you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video today. It's previewing the league, or predicting, should we say, the League One playoffs. That's right, the first legs are just around the corner, and we'll get to it in a second. Of course, if you know where you've been, smash your subscribe button. You want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, League One, playoff football. We're going to all hear under one Rooski. That's right, of course. 4 clubs now remain in the mixer for just one spot in the championship. Who's going to be in control of that? We'll take a little look in just a second. Of course, big shout out to the members and the Patreons. You know who you are. But what we're going to do now, though, is revisit the last round of games, of course, and then kick on forward to the next round, which is the playoffs, and it is the first leg. So sit tight, hold on, and let's review what went down on the final day. Not as much drama on the line in League One, but this is how it all panned out. Of course, Blackpool did put up a bit of a barnstorming performance. 4-1 winners over Bristol Rovers, who will be playing League Two football. Just imagine if Bristol City were to get promoted and they'd be in the Premier League. Meanwhile, Bolton and Stevenage will be back next year. 1-1 in the end. Is Stephen Schumacher the man? That's a question to be had. Birmingham absolutely cruising. 2-1 winners over Cambridge. Got that one spot on the nose. Charlton ended their season with a bit of a flurry with a 3-1 win over Burton. GB will be back though with Burton. Meanwhile, the Orient go into the playoffs on fire with a 4-1 win over Huddersfield Town. Wrexham, of course, promoted to the Championship, done it in style with a 2-0 win away to Lincoln as predicted. Mansfield did end the season as well. 3-0 winners over Exeter. I went with a 2-1 win myself. Northampton won, Wigan won as predicted. Not too shabby for me. Barnsley, though, with a big 4-2 win over Reading at the Majeski. But of course, news is breaking as we speak that a new owner or new ownership for Reading coming in very soon. Rotherham did beat Peterborough 2-1 as predicted. Crawley with a 2-1 away win to Shrewsbury Town. Both of those two clubs will be playing League Two. And Stockport go into the playoffs on the back of a 3-1 win over Wycombe. Wow. So that's, of course, the state of play with the results and my picks. Not too shabby by me. But what does that mean? Well, it means this. This is how it ended. Birmingham City, Wrexham will be playing Championship football. Meanwhile, Crawley, Bristol Rovers, Cambridge and Shrewsbury will be playing League Two football. According to my mathematics, it'll be Stockport up against Leyton Orient and Charlton up against Wycombe. Wow. Who's your money on right here right now? Let me know down below. But that is that. Strong end to the season for Blackpool. Too late, though. Bolton, Blackpool, Wigan, all competing again next season. I do think they will all be in the mixer as we look forward to those next round of games. We do have a prediction league. It's still going through the playoffs. Still maybe 5 points on the horizon, so maybe we'll quadruple the points or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, these are the next round of games. It is the playoffs. It is the first legs, and of course, they've been decided already. And of course, the first match will be Leyton Orient up against Stockport County. Now, this match coming at you at Brisbane Road, and of course will take place on May the 10th. Be with you. That's a Saturday, so a bit of a build up towards this game. But anyway, let's get into it and talk about it then, shall we? Richie Wellens and Leyton Orient are finished 6th in the table, 78 points. Of course, they are on fire. These two are the form teams right now. And it's a little bit hard done, but they have to lock horns against each other, if I'm going to be honest with you. Orient, those 6 wins on the spin. Of course, we've got our own small little Blackburn Rovers feel to this one with Dylan Muckendey on the books of Leyton Orient. Maybe he can have a Wembley date for himself and maybe bring that back to Blackburn Rovers. But anyway, 6 wins on the spin, at least for Leyton Orient. Of course, up against Stockport County, who finished 3rd with 87 points, winning 5 of the last 6, coming at you with 92% form. Now, they have played 10 times since 2005, 4 wins apiece and 2 draws, of course. Leyton Orient have got a 4-1 win on the record against Stockport County. They've scored 13 goals in those 10 games, picking up a 1.3 goals a game ratio. Stockport, though, have a 3-0 win on the record. They've got 14 goals on their record against Leyton Orient. They've got a 1.40 goals a game. Now, of the 2 matches that are played this season, both ended up with away wins. That's right. Leyton Orient picked up a 4-1 win over Stockport at Stockport, but the last time that these two sides played was at Brisbane Road, where Stockport beat Leyton Orient back in February. In fact, goodness gracious me. The last time Leyton Orient beat Stockport at Brisbane Road was way back in April 2010. That was in League One. Same can be said for when Stockport last beat the Orient at Stockport at Ashley Park back in September 2009. But coming into this, Stockport on the back of a convincing morale-boosting, maybe even troubling, concerning for everybody else, 3-1 win over the next best thing, or the nearest best thing, Wycombe Wanderers. Meanwhile, the Orient picking up a 4-1 win over Huddersfield Town to put themselves also in good nick as well. And they are 6 wins on the spin, looking good. They have been conceding some goals, though, out of the Orient, but they've been scoring a buttload. We're talking 4, 8, 12, 15 goals in the last 4 games combined. That is more than 3 goals a game on average. No bookies odds on this one, I don't think. So it's all about my gut instinct, because we are recording this early bloody days here. This was tricky. In fact, they're both tricky. It's sort of. I think they're both tricky. I do think this one's going to end up with a 2-1 win for the Orient. The form is there. The momentum is there. They're in. They came in. They steamrolled their way into the playoffs, and they look good right now. I don't think that puts this game to bed. It puts it evenly poised, and I do think Stockport will challenge big time when it comes back to Edgeley Park. But I do think Leyton Orient, at this moment in time, fresh off the bat, they'll keep on going and they'll keep on winning. Of course, I don't think the same can be said for the next game. It is Wycombe up against Charlton. That's coming at you on the also the 10th of May. It's the evening kickoff for that bad boy. And it's coming at you at Adams Park, the first one. Of course, it's Mike Dodds' Wycombe up against, of course, Nathan Jones' Charlton. That's right, coming at you at Adams Park. Now Wycombe coming into finishing in 5th of the table. They've lost 3 on the spin. It does not smell good at the moment for Wycombe Wanderers. Meanwhile, Charlton coming into it under Nathan Jones, just 1 defeat in the last 6. They're on 75% form, and they did finish 4th in this League One campaign. Now, they played 15 times, these two sides, in 2006. 4 wins Wycombe, 9 wins Charlton. There's been 2 draws between the two sides. Of course, on the record, they have a 1-0 win, just a 1-0 win of Wycombe over Charlton. I think they're going to need to have some big wins to make this more convincing, because a 1-0 win ain't going to be enough, I don't think. But anyway, they've got a 1-0 win. They've scored 16 goals in those 15 games against Charlton, picking up a 1.07 goals a game ratio. Meanwhile, Charlton on the flip side have a 4-0 win on their record against Wycombe Wanderers. They scored 25 goals in those 15 games, 1.67 goals a game on average. Now, they played twice this season, as in back-to-back wins for Charlton. In fact, they picked up a 4-0 win against Wycombe on the 21st of April, not that long ago. So it's still ringing in Wycombe's ears at the moment. They actually picked up a 2-1 win at the Valley last time. That was back in December as well. Wycombe just winning once of the last 6 against Charlton. That was at Wycombe, and it was that 1-0 win. Now, coming into this, Wycombe on the back of a 3-1 loss to high-flying Stockport. It's actually been very, very grim stuff for the Orient. Losing to Charlton, losing to Orient, losing to Stockport. They are in here, they are wounded, and I do fear for them at the moment. Charlton coming into on the back of that 3-1 win over Burton. Their last, last away win was actually at Wycombe, of course. So, enough about that. No odds coming into this, but I despite all that, I do fear Wycombe here, but I do think they'll grind something out here. It's not going to be pretty. Probably won't be one of the games of the day, or at least one of the playoff games of the first legs. I do think it's going to be a bit of a damp squib of a 0-0, which gives Wycombe a little bit of hope heading into that second leg at the Valley, but it's going to be a bit of a mountain for them to actually do this, because I do fear the early doors right here, right now, that Charlton have the upper hand here. And they'll take that. I think Charlton will take that 0-0 at the moment. But that's what I think will happen over in the League One first leg playoffs. Of course, coming at you this coming 10th of May. No rest for the wicked. Of course, it's the bitter end, of course. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below. But until then, see you soon, until we will come back for those second legs. But until then, we are done.